After starting the season 0-4, the Kings have won back-to-back games, beating Miami, then headed over to Charlotte, North Carolina, and beat the Hornets. So, man, 2-game winning streak after a very slow start. John, how are we feeling?
Well, I mean, for all the obvious issues that the Kings had, um, they'd still been really close. They'd been in these games that they were losing. The 0-4 start. It wasn't as if they, were totally lacking. They played four really good teams. In the Clippers game in particular, the opposition hit some tough shots. And, that happens, and especially when you're playing good teams. And they knew they had to be better. They knew that, it's not like every team is just miraculously having a good shooting game. The Kings actually gave up, I think, as of recording right now, they give up the highest field goal percentage to their opponent. So, and they're giving up one of the most points in the paint per game. So there are clear issues rotationally, paint protection, rim protection, defensively. But overall, I mean, like, you look at that Miami game, they led the whole way. Miami, they didn't look super great on their West Coast road trip to start the game, but, they still have great players. Tyler Hero had a great game. But the Kings led the whole way, held on, won the game. Can't really complain too much. And then, again, Charlotte, that was 15-point deficit at halftime, and they came back. They held the Hornets to 41 points in the second half. They're missing their best player, and Terry Rozier as well, who's a good contributor, and also another guy that I can't remember. But, that was one of those games where, the resiliency didn't just come from a 15-point deficit. It came from the fact that also their best player, their leading scorer, went down. And they were not getting off to a good start offensively in that game. So it looked like they were going to lose that game, no doubt. And guys stepped up. And it was probably one of their better games of the season just for that reason. Just seeing the heart of this team for a team that a year ago probably would have so easily had given up in a situation like that.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous playing Charlotte personally. I feel like the last couple times that we've played Charlotte, it just didn't really go well. I can't remember if both of these games happened last year or these games happened like in the past two seasons. But there was one game where the Kings blew like a 9-point lead in the last minute of the game to lose to Charlotte, and then last year in December. The whole Hornets, like half the Hornets team was down, including all their best players from COVID. Like LaMelo was out, Hayward was out, Rozier was out, everyone was out. And the Kings still managed to lose that game, even though I think it was Cody Martin fouled De'Aaron Fox with like 2 seconds left in the game, and he thought they had a foul to give. And the Kings were down by one at that moment, and Fox missed both free throws to lose the game. So I just feel like we're just recently historically bad against the Hornets. I think I read somewhere that last night's or Monday night's victory was the first win in Charlotte in 5 years, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, think about Charlotte in the last 5 years. Like, that's a team you should beat. So it was nice that we could go into Charlotte, get the win. That was like our first team that we played where it's like, okay, this is a legit winnable game, but also a game at this point. I feel like we say this every year. Like, that's a team we should be beating. Like, if we're a playoff team or even a play-in team, you have to beat the Hornets. And then, Fox went out, Sabonis fouled out for the second straight game, but Davion stepped up. Everyone, Herter had another great game. Others stepped up and they pulled out that W. So it was nice. It was nice to see back-to-back wins because I also would have hated to start the season 1-5.
Yeah. And also there's the wider issue last season of just no matter what team they played, stars would either sit against the Kings or stars would be hurt. And the Kings would come out having the advantage in that department and they wouldn't play any better than that team countless times. And, it's just that kind of points to that overall kind of shift in this team.